It's moved from that spot for the first time in 3 years. All right. Still morning. Morning, guys. Just picking you up. I just did some chores this morning. Getting the planter tractor all cleaned out, washed the planter this week, and getting ready to put it away. Checked over some things, made a list of stuff that we need to do to fix ahead of next year. We've just been getting rains on and off all week, just a few tenths here, a couple tenths there. So nothing major, just enough to keep us out of the field, and then just enough rain in the forecast that we won't get don't feel like rushing out into the field. So anyways, just gonna vacuum the cab out. So noticed the battery was dead in our little portable vacuum, so Joe got one on the charger, throw that in there, finish vacuuming out the tractor, put the hoppers back on the planter, and then it'll be ready to go away. So I don't know if there's going to be anything get done today as far as cleanup with the barnyard. Our operator might be busy doing something, but plan is Joe and I are going to get our grain trucks to their respected shops today, hopefully, and so that they're ready for plant or harvest, because the wheat's going to be ready here before we know it. And then I don't know what else we'll get up to today. Kind of just blocked today off getting those trucks to where they need to be. So let's go vacuum the tractor. Alright, I gave the cab a little wipe down with some cleaner, just kind of get the dust off the buttons. We're going to still be using this thing, and so the floor is probably going to get dirty. So anyways, kind of just, this was all covered in dust, and the same with that because the back window doesn't seal with all the cables coming through it. But my goal is when we go to put it away for the winter, do a full deep clean on it every year before we put it away. Scrub the mats and stuff and kind of make it look like that we look after our stuff. I'd rather spend more time on drive lines and changing the oil properly and making sure it's mechanically sound than necessarily aesthetically appeasing in the cab. But some might argue when you go to sell it or whatever, if you don't, what should I call it? If the cab looks like a disaster, what's the rest of the stuff like? But anyways, I find I view it as busy work. If you've got other things to do that take more priority, having a squeaky clean cab is not on the top of my list. But anyways, we'll get the hoppers put back on, and should be good to go. Also, during the heat wave, we got rid of our chickens and we had to clean them out. So Joe and I cleaned this out by hand, and there are our new chickens. So we sell eggs on our farm, out our garage door, and we get about 500 hens in a year, and it's a little bit of a side venture that we've been doing for probably over 50 years. Christ, it might be closer to 60 years we've been doing that. So mom looks after them, feeds them, trays the eggs. We draw the short straws when she goes away on who's got to do chores with the chickens. But yeah, just something kind of unique our farm does, different from everybody else. In Canada, there's a supply management system or quota system for eggs, and so since we've always had 500 hens, when they implemented that system back in the 60s or 70s, we were called grandfathered in. So as long as we keep the hens, we're allowed to do it, but as soon as we decide we want to give it up, we can't. So we're kind of caught. Joe and I don't like to do it, but at the same time too, it's kind of something unique that's been a part of our farm forever. And yeah, so we'll probably keep doing it. Kids will probably pick up on it when they're in high school, and maybe kind of dangle a carrot for them as they get some of the proceeds for the eggs. You know, if you do the egg chores, you get some of the proceeds for lunch money or snack money or money for clothes or whatever. Kind of teach them a bit of responsibility and kind of their first job. So anyways, let's go get the goats some hay. And just got back from picking up some calves from the local dairy that we get majority of our calves from. So they had 2 calves ready for us to pick up, so I went and picked them up, 2 bull calves. I think now I'm gonna move the planter out of the way and get the sprayer ready to rinse the sprayer out, so I can go spraying tomorrow. It looks like the dry beans are gonna be, so the weather's supposed to be decent tomorrow, nice and sunny and hot, which is perfect for the herbicide that I'm spraying. It's a contact herbicide, so what it does is it breaks down the cell membrane of the weeds, and then it essentially dries it out or dehydrates it. So you want to spray those on hot sunny days, preferably in the afternoon. So it looks like the weather's going to be good for that, and the beans are at the perfect stage to do that. So we'll get that first flush of weeds, and then we'll just monitor the field and see if I need to do a touch-up pass in about 10 days, 2 weeks, and also to keep monitoring for disease or pests, and we might have to make an application as well. So kind of an overcast day, a little cooler than it was at the start of the week, so it's not too bad. So I'm gonna go move the planter. I think I'm gonna go grab some lunch and let my dog out and pick up a couple jugs of bleach to clean the sprayer out. All right, got my jug of bleach. That's what I use to clean my sprayer out. There's other types of cleaners out there. This is the cheapest, and I find works the best. There's probably other types of cleaners I should be using when cleaning the sprayer, but I just find this one works the best for cleaning. So kind of an overview of how I clean out the sprayer, kind of some things that I do that maybe differ from your operation, or if you don't have any background in agriculture and you're watching this video. The importance of cleaning out the sprayer is not all the chemicals that we spray through this sprayer can go. We grow multiple crops and they don't all transfer over. So the last thing I was spraying was Roundup and Lawntrel for controlling volunteer alfalfa. So, and then we're going to spray edible beans or dry beans. So Roundup will kill the dry beans because they're not Roundup ready, they're non-GMO or genetically modified, and so will the Lawntrel. So I need to clean the sprayer out. So we've got a stainless tank. So when I put the bleach in, which is essentially an ammonia cleaner, when this thing's doing its rinse cycle, it's scrubbing the walls, and then on each of the booms on the ends here, these are Hi-Pro aspirated nozzle bodies. So if I turn that nozzle body to an open end and then shut these ones off, it pushes all that carryover product out the ends and down and flushes the booms out. So I do that on my first rinse. Well, let me back up too. So when I am finishing up spraying a tank mix, I try and get to honestly run an acre short, and then I will pull in fresh clean water, rinse the sprayer out because there's actually still hot product in the boom, and then I use that diluted product to push out the end, finish spraying the field, and then I will rinse again, spray it out, especially if it's something that I know I won't damage the crop if I have a high rates of it. Then I'll come back. My first tank mix is clean water. I put about 35-40 gallons in, scrub the whole sprayer down, and then I spray that out, and then I bring in more fresh water, scrub it down, push it out the ends, and then the last one I then spray it out and spray it through the nozzles. And knock on wood, that has been the most effective way I have found to clean this sprayer out. I don't have any issues when I go to a sensitive crop the next time when I spray. I don't have a bunch of hot product in there, and I always like to do it before I spray, and then I don't like to let that cleaner sit in there or something sit in the sprayer for too long, because what can happen is the surfactants in, say, fungicides or the herbicides like Roundup, they actually pull chemical out of the rubber lines or something that can sit there and it'll break free. So it's very important. You don't want to have damage the crop. And then rule of thumb, after every clean out, drive to the back of the farm and start. Don't charge your boom or start spraying right at the road where all the neighbors can see. Find a field or a part of the field that only you or the combine operator will see later in season if you do have any issues. But I just follow that process. I went and looked in the operator's manual on how Deere recommended cleaning this sprayer out, and so I follow that process to a T, and it has worked out well for me. So anyways, let's get the bleach. I always start with the bleach in the inductor, so when I rinse the sprayer out, pulls it through, cleans the inductor out. Even though I don't use this, it's still nice to flush and clean this out, because sometimes in a pinch or whatever, if I run short in the field and I need to mix a whole bunch in from my fresh water tank, I still use this. I haven't used it yet this spring since I've got my spray setup all there, but we'll still clean it. It's still part of the process, and it, like I said, that has worked the best for me. So let's go fill this up, fill the fresh water right back up, and we'll get this sprayer all cleaned out so it's ready for tomorrow morning. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but we'll look inside the top. So there we are, cleaning the inside of the tank. And then what I'll do, I got about 55 gallon in there cleaning out. And then we'll just come along here and you just turn this one here, and then we just turn them off, and I'll get it set up so that I can do my post spray in the edible beans. So I'll be using my flat fan ones to get good coverage and a fine mist. And then, like I said, you come to these ones here, you just give it a turn, and since those ones are all turned off, when the product comes through this pipe here, goes out and out the end, and then that pushes all that hot product out. So got a few more to do. All right, so I got them all turned. It's done scrubbing the tank, so now we just got to push it out the boom. I'll just lower the boom down. I go in on my screen here, go to my sprayer, go on rinse, turn my pump on, and then I like to do it a section at a time. That way I can verify that it's all come out, because what actually happens is there's no back pressure because there's no orifice. So if I turn them all on at once, not all, it doesn't flow out enough. So I turn my pump on, and you can see out there, and I turn that off. Then I do the other side. And I just work away, doing one at a time, and verify that it's coming out. Because sometimes I get a little carried away with turning the nozzles, and they don't all, I forget to do one the correct way. So I always like to make sure that I am doing it the right way. And then that way too, I know each boom section has been flushed out. And then to finish it up, I'll turn them all on and blow the rest out. So you can see they're forming a puddle. And I think I got one more. See right there, like I said. And then I gotta do the center section. So the center section I always do last, because if I do my first rinse in the field, it's the first one to get clean product. So, and then just to turn all my sections back on, and you can see how they're not coming out as full. And that end one doesn't. And that's why I do it one. It for whatever reason. So it's gonna blow all that stuff out. Shuts the pump off, and we'll start the process again. So I've got the low volume, and then I just click start, and it does the automatic rinse cycle. So we'll do that 2 more times, and this thing should be cleaned and ready to go. All right, we're just doing our last little rinse here. So I'm just coming out, and I'm just getting sprayed. It's just water, so don't worry. I'm just checking to make sure all my nozzles are spraying. So you can see nice fog. That's what I'm targeting for. So that 40 psi, nice fine droplets for optimal coverage. And that's why, with the way it's blowing around and getting you guys all wet and getting me wet, is why I won't be spraying today. I'll have to wait for the wind to come down. And because you can see, I don't know if the camera picks it up, but there's a definite mist. But essentially there's no bubbles. Those original bubbles are from when I pushed it out, but no new bubbles. So we got pretty much all the chemical out, and it's just water coming out. So sprayer's all clean. Looks like she's ran out. Shut the pump off. And then what I also like to do too is just dump the sump in case there's any gunk or crap in there. You can see, flush all that clean water out. There's a bit of product still left in the fill or in the sump. So I always like to dump that out so that I'm not putting that in there, because it doesn't take very much of that in the tank to make an issue in the field. So I think too, before I fold up, go grab the grease gun and give the boom a bit of a grease, and get it ready, stowed away, ready for spraying tomorrow. Well, we're working on what should have been a 2-minute job. Turns into a 2-hour job. Got our mag drill here. Broke that bit off on the inside. So before you go and wreck another $50 bit, try and get the broken one out. Quite difficult. Anybody who's worked on trucks know that rebuilding a truck like this takes way more time than you think. I don't know if you guys can see me there. I'll get a flashlight. But there's a little remnants left in there. So, want to get this thing operational for wheat harvest. We've got a box that we're going to mount on here, and that is what we will use to haul our crops in from the field, along with some wagons, and we got another tandem truck. Well, we abandoned that broken bit for another day. Another problem, it's a great way to deal with problems, is just push them down the line and fix them another day. So Joe popped the drive shaft in. Just gonna zip tie stuff up and then take this up to a guy that's gonna finish getting this thing all put back together for us. That's a little more in tune with mechanic work. And yeah, so we gotta get all the junk out from around it and drive her ahead. It's moved from that spot for the first time in 3 years. Hopefully we get started at fixing it. That we use it to haul grain, but Joe told me he'd be lucky to have it for wheat harvest, but I don't know. Or September is what he was telling me. Well, we got that truck dropped off. Another thing we did was we changed the ration on for the cattle. So we took the hay out, added more corn silage and more ground corn to them, because there's quite a few in here that are getting to the age that they need to get a little higher energy ration. This guy's a little small, but we're finding with these dairy crosses, you gotta push them a little sooner so that they get some good finish on them, so they don't just look like bone and legs. So anyways, that'll pretty well wrap it up for today. Catch up with you guys tomorrow when we do some spraying. Alright, just in the calf barn here. Got a few calves we got to train. You can hear them bawling. So we'll got this calf here to finish up, and then I think this one's probably gonna start. Maybe we'll go find something to do. It's a bit of a log jam when I feed the calves out in hutches when I mix with that, because it can't feed two at once. Anyways, beautiful day. Pretty heavy dew, so still gotta wait for the dew to burn off to do to start spraying. Let's get these calves done, and then I gotta feed the stalkers, and then by then hopefully dew's burned off and I can get some spraying. Alright, well, it's been a bit. I went and did some spraying. Resprayed the dry beans and resprayed a soybean field. Gave these guys some straw. Joe's going to clean them out tomorrow, but just gave them some straw here. They'll have it spread around so they're not as damp. It's my brother's oldest daughter's birthday party today, so don't have time to clean them out. Here's the thing, you can clean them out when it's drizzling and raining, but you can't spray when it's drizzling and raining. So That's why I didn't clean them out, because I wanted to get that spraying done. And then the rest of the afternoon will be spent celebrating my niece turning 3. Big number 3. So get the calf hutches in the calves in the hutches, some straw as well, and then they should be good to go for a bit as well. All right, they're all bedded up. I'll go home and have a shower and catch up with you guys on night chores. All right, I'm back. Just gonna put my leftover chemical from spraying over here. My field shapes, I always end up with part jugs because they come in like 40-acre increments for the most part. And if you spray a 50, well then you technically need 2 jugs. So, get the calves that are green. Goats that are green. I have already fed. I've already fed the calves in the hutches, watered the goats, watered the calves in the hutches, fed the rest of the stock or feed to them. So this is my last job, and then I'm going home to have a nice cold beer because it has been hot today. The birthday party was outside, no shade, and of course that's when my kids want to run around and be outside in the sun. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up here. Later this week is Canada Day, so happy Canada Day to all my Canadian followers and viewers. And at the end of the week, happy 4th of July to all the US viewers and fans. We're gonna keep trying to stay cool, see what the weather holds. I got chances of rain all week, but we'll see what comes to fruition. And fingers crossed they get the walls poured in the yard, because that pen's getting full of black gold, and we'd like to get them cleaned out. And then also a bunch of calves brought home from David's, and the calf barn calves moved down to David's. So they're holding up moving cattle around, so hopefully they get out of her this week. But till next time, guys, keep her between the ditches.